Henry gave it to
I'm
me.
very interested in engagement rings. Do you mind if I take a closer look? That's some pearl, Miss Swanson. Would have cost Henry a fortune. He must really love you. How did you meet Julia?
I was introduced through my fiancé, Henry Arnett.
Henry is your beau. Tell us about it.
Yes, he is. Henry has a fashion business. He and Julia have been friends for years.
Are Miss Randall and Mr. Henderson engaged?
Who's he?
Look, lady, you need to give me something. Do you know anybody who would have cause to harm Julia?
No. Really, Mr. Phelps. Julia's my friend. I don't know why anyone would want to hurt her. She's okay, isn't she?
That's all for now, Miss Swanson. Could you ask your fiancé to visit Hollywood Police Station? It would be very helpful to our inquiry.
Now, wait a moment. I don't think I'll pass on that message until you tell me why you're asking all these questions.
Julia Randall was found dead this morning.
What? Oh, no. Oh, I can't believe it. She was so full of life.
Can you drive to this one?
Where are we going? I swear, if we locked up every doctor in this town, Vice would be able to work half days.
Yes, sir, your name?
LAPD. We'd like to see Dr. Stoneman.
Dr. Stoneman is with a patient. Would you like to wait?
No, we wouldn't. Tell him we want to see him now.
There's no need to be rude.
Save it, sister.
Dr. Stoneman, I have some gentlemen from the LAPD here to see you.
Send them in, please. I'll see this patient again after they've left.
Your investigation is much more important.
Dr. Stoneman, we are investigating the death of one of your patients, Julia Randall.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Do you mind if we ask you some questions about Ms. Randall?
Not if it doesn't compromise doctor-patient privilege, Detective.
How well did you know Miss Randall?
Barely at all. She'd only been a patient 6 months or so.
You didn't like her, did you?
It wasn't a question of like, Detective. She was incredibly beautiful. When you looked in her eyes, you knew how a mouse felt before a snake. Not an ounce of warmth there.
You wrote Julia Randall a prescription for Benzedrine. How can you account for that?
Miss Randall was in the fashion business. She wanted to control her weight.
We believe Miss Randall died of an overdose of morphine. You didn't prescribe her anything else, did you?
That is a very serious allegation to level at a doctor, young man. I am well aware of what is prescribed under the Harrison Act, Detective. If you wish to make any other ridiculous accusations, I suggest you direct them to my attorney.
We often find the more obstructive people tend to be, Dr. Stoneman, the more they have to hide. Operator, give me dispatch.
Putting you through now.
Phelps, badge 1247.
How could I help, Detective?
Messages, please.
Yes, Detective. The coroner's been asking to speak to you. I can connect the call if you like.
Please, thank you. Al?
Cole, can you get over here? I just finished the autopsy.
Sure thing, Mal. We'll be right over.
This doesn't pertain to the case. Doesn't look like anything. Not sure this means much. Don't think this is anything.
If you don't mind, I have patients to see too.
What now?
What are we missing? Let's go back to the apartment. The old boy's lying.
About what?
I don't know. He looked relieved when you said she was dead. That's a strange reaction to have to the death of a young patient.
You drive. I need to go over the case notes.
Have you noticed how Croakers only pull out the physician-patient?
Solve that big case. Son, you're a couple of slates short of a full roof.
Cole, Roy, I have some information for you.
You're the only person enjoying this, Mal. Get on with it.
The bruising confirms 2 sets of hands, so we have 2 killers. Death was caused by heart failure due to an overdose of morphine.
Have you dragged us down here to gloat? We already heard your theory.
We agree that she was murdered.
Yes, of course.
I have something else to show you.
All right, Mal, what gives?
The dead guy's name is Jimmy LeBlanc, career burglar. He came in this morning. Someone stove his head in with a lump of 2x4.
So what? Good riddance.
I found 2 Syrettes in his jacket pocket.
Wow.
Hang on a minute, Roy. We're listening, Mal.
No sign of morphine use and no metabolized morphine in his blood. Scratch marks on his face.
Which could be from getting his head remodeled.
Time of death, Mal.
Maybe an hour or 2 after the Randall girl.
So you're saying Laughing Boy here could be one of our killers? That's a hell of a long shot.
Thanks, Mal. We'll check it out.
I found something else.
Sorry, I don't play.
I don't know if it's significant. His wallet was empty. The only other things he was carrying were the harmonica and the morphine. Carruthers. Yeah, he's here. I'll send him over. They have a guy called Henry Arnett in interview 2 for you next door. Let me know how you get on.
Sure, Mal. And thanks for the lead.
Sure, Mal. Thanks for the lead.
You can drive.
Fine. Where are we headed? We're here now.
You know the way. You can drive.
Do we know where we're going?
You look like you were a big pain.
Arnett is in interview too, Phelps. Go help him get whatever it is off his chest.
It's him, the cop from the newspapers.
See him? I saw his picture in the paper.
I'm stumped.
He worked
Ideas?
that case with that lady cut up like the dahlia.
Mr. Arnett, I'm Detective Phelps. This is Detective Earl. Thanks for coming in.
Call me Henry. It's the least I could do. Terrible news about Julia.
How well did you know Julia Randall?
Vaguely. I'm in the clothing business, and Julia occasionally modeled for me.
And you were close?
We were friends.
Miss Randall's landlady said she was seeing an older man.
Could have been. I wasn't privy to all the details of Julia's private life.
Spill it, Henry. You know nothing about a man named Henderson?
Yes, you're right. Henderson, yeah. Very distinguished.
How about a first name, wise guy? An address, maybe?
I'm sorry, I don't. I think he lives somewhere out of town. Somewhere back east.
Ever heard of a Jimmy LeBlanc?
No. Should I have? Is he an entertainer or something?
I think you're lying. I think Randall was a high-priced hooker, and this Henderson character didn't want it to come out that he had been seeing her. I think he had LeBlanc and an accomplice bump her off. I think you know who Henderson is, and you're trying to conceal his identity.
I think you've been out in the sun too long without your hat. Prove that I know who Henderson is. I came down here to talk to you, to do the right thing, to try and help catch Julia's killers. And all I get is abuse. I'm not a criminal detective.
Heather told us that you were in fashion.
That's right.
He ran the light on Olympic, and we finally collared him on Temple.
Some kind of traveling salesman?
Once I got out of the Corps, I used my...
You were in the Marines?
Sure. I'm proud of it. The Fighting Sixth.
You were in the 6th Marines?
Yes. I was a captain.
Which company?
Various companies. We had a lot of casualties.
Which engagements?
Okinawa. A couple of other places.
That will be all for now, Henry. You've been very helpful.
That son of a bitch was never in the Marines. Why'd you let him off the hook?
Because we're giving him a couple of minutes before we start tailing him. Arnett is an amateur. We need to find out who killed the girl. Can you pass this on to Bukowski? Have him check the place out and go through his records.
Sure, I'll pass it on.
Thanks. Can you also have R&I run the records on a Jimmy LeBlanc and find out who was his last arresting officer? Have them get in touch via KGPL when they have some information.
He's in that car at the lights.
He was squirming like a worm in there. Don't you love it when they pull the war hero excuse? Actually, maybe you don't. Great idea, Cole. Why don't you just dance in front of his windshield as well?
I'd have expected a cad like Arnett to be a better liar.
Where are you taking us, Henry?
Careful, we'll get spotted at this distance. God damn it. Everyone's looking at us, Cole.
That idiot never stepped foot in Okinawa.
He needs money and fast. Get in there and find out what he pawned. I'll stick with him, see how he intends to spend the money. Move in. Can't risk losing the trail.
Hoof it, Phelps. I'll bring the car around when I'm done here.
goddamn Harry thinks he could get fresh whenever he pleases.
What are you doing?
He needs money and fast. Get in there and find out what he pawned. I'll stick with him, see how he intends to spend the money. Too much slack. Gotta get closer.
Hoof it, Phelps. I'll bring the car around when I'm done here.
Asshole!
Hey, don't mind me.